watch a flick with me. Famous scenes with drama queens and heroes up there for us on the silver screen. Come grab a seat, the popcorn is on me.
Hello, welcome back to Meet Me at the Movies. Noel T. Manning II here with a couple of the Cinnamon. That's right, Darryl Mansel, Douglas Davidson. Douglas, do that little head bob thing that you do so well. That's it, dude. I love it. You're like a walking bobblehead. You're a human bobblehead, is what you are.
Worst. Fair. Fair.
Well, I got to tell you, not too long ago, you guys were on the show with Thomas, and we didn't invite Thomas back because he really didn't provide a whole lot, and he wasn't even alive back in '96. So why invite him back? But in 1996, well, we did a special looking at some of the films of 1996 that speak to us. And so I got quite a bit of non-viewer mail, and the non-viewer mail was complaining because we seemed to be leaving out a lot of other films. And so I took that under consideration and I threw it in the trash. And so but I thought we still ought to come back and do like at least a 1.5 version of 1996. So we don't have a whole show, but we do have about 13, 14 minutes now that I've talked about 12 to go over some of the other films that didn't make the list the first go round. So looking at the films of 1996, some that speak to us. Darryl, I'm going to start with you. Give me a film that you didn't get to last time.
A film I didn't get to last time that I really enjoyed. Kicked off a now decades-long franchise. Mission Impossible, man. Brian De Palma. No one in 1996 thought that we would end up here waiting for what our seventh movie that's coming up in this run. It started out as a great spy movie, kind of transitioned more into action, but this is just a good, solid spy thriller. Great, I think one of the best TV show to movie adaptations we've gotten so far, with a great cast too.
Yeah, and for me, it's one of those that continues to get better, especially when I look at the past few. I'm like, wow, okay, because I wasn't a huge fan of the first one. I liked it, but didn't love it. But it's found a way to get better for me. And so, yeah, glad that Mission Impossible has continued. Well, I'm going to tag on that with a double feature, a Tom Cruise double feature, also from 1996. This came out in December. It just didn't make the cutoff date, December of 1996. Jerry Maguire, even today, quite a quotable film. Great casting, writing and directing from Cameron Crowe. Tom Cruise, of course, starring in this with Renee Zellweger, Cuba Gooding Jr. It's a romantic sports drama that what I love about it is it found a way to appeal to men and women, and it became an instant classic. So Jerry Maguire is on my list of must-see films from 1996, and it connected with me because I got my wife to watch something about sports. So there you go.
Well, you guys have got some wonderful taste. You really do. I mean, Jerry Maguire, Secret Garden from Bruce Springsteen, and Mission Impossible, which Vanessa Redgrave, amazing. And then you get to my choice, which, as usual, I got to bring the classiness level down anytime I do anything with Darryl. Usually just showing up does that. Yeah. But for me, one of my favorite 1996 movies is the submarine military comedy, Down Periscope. This movie is nowhere near the Zucker brothers level of comedy, but it gets close enough that we still quote this film, my wife and I. Kelsey Grammer, Lauren Holly, Rob Schneider, Harry Dean Stanton, slew of other folks. Bruce Dern is in this. Think Rip Torn as well. This is a great comedic cast, just having fun. And being pirates at sea, what else could you ask for? It's goofy as heck, but if you've seen it, you know it's a good time. You can't hate that choice too much.
Yeah, when I scrolled down the list of 1996 films and I saw that and I was like, $10 says we're gonna get Doug talking about this movie.
Easy $10. I might have to watch it when we're done with this.
Yeah, not my favorite Zucker brothers film, but it was worth it for Lauren Holly. if nothing else. So I will give you that. All right. Well, Darryl, come back to me, man. What else you got, buddy? Looking at 1996.
Looking at 96, man, I'm going to go over to a little Doug Liman joint called Swingers. Talking about Swingers. It's a great look at the dating scene before social media, before we had dating apps and, kind of quote unquote finding love the old way. And, we focus on John Favreau's Mike recently out of a breakup and, just trying to get over that hump with his friend Trent there. And it also gives you a look at kind of how Hollywood nightlife was at that point and bouncing from parties to parties and all that kind of good stuff. It's Favreau and Vince Vaughn that kind of put them on the map. One would go on to become a critically acclaimed director. The other one goes on to become Vince Vaughn. So it is a great movie of something older than coming of age, but just a good look of coming of self is what happens there with John Favreau's character.
Awesome. Good choice. Didn't see that one coming. I did see Down Periscope coming, like you said, but didn't see Swingers. So there you go.
Love it.
Well, I've got a film that I'm glad I got a chance to come back and talk about because I love team comedies. I've always loved these buddy comedies as long as I can remember. And when I think back of the 90s, Chris Farley and David Spade, they were just so good together. We lost Chris Farley way too soon, much like a decade or so earlier looking at John Belushi. But Black Sheep from February of 1996 combined things I love, the buddy comedy and also political satire. And the chemistry between those two, loved it. It was on full display here, directed by Penelope Spears, who also was involved in quite a few other films like that. Written by Fred Wolf, who was the director of House Bunny. It was chaos at heart. I also loved the lesson that I learned. And one of the lessons I learned from this is there are some people you should never share a cabin with in the woods. And I'm not just talking about Douglas Davidson, but there's also a universal message here, a theme that family love can ultimately overcome family stupidity. So Black Sheep on my list for films of 1996. All right, Douglas, what else you got, man?
Well, I am once again going to go in a different direction than the both of you. While Swingers is, I would describe it as a bit of a drama. It does have comedic moments, and certainly Black Sheep is a comedy. I have to go in a different direction. When I think of films from 96, I think of something that either helped to shape some aspect of myself or change the way that I looked at cinema. And I have to go with what is probably one of the best performances of that year. I believe it was Edward Norton's first cinematic performance, Primal Fear. That is a movie that to this day, and I've went back and read the book it was based on by William Deal. The book is phenomenal. The movie is its own thing that is still just when you know the story and where it goes, it can still shake you so many years later. It is a phenomenal movie with fantastic performances. Richard Gere, Laura Linney, I've already mentioned Edward Norton, John Mahoney, and others. If you haven't checked out Primal Fear, I cannot recommend it enough. It's what shows you that Edward Norton was a talent right from the get-go.
Yeah, Norton completely brilliant in that movie and just blew me away. I'm with you, Douglas. That is a phenomenal film, well worth revisiting time and time again, just for Norton's performance, if nothing else. So that's not quite Black Sheep, but it'll do. It'll do.
The comedic moments in Primal don't land quite as much as Black Sheep.
But it'll do. All right, Mr. Mansel, what else is on your list, buddy? Of 1996.
1996 gives you, Black Sheep is a different kind of comedy, and sometimes you got to go dark with your comedy, man. And I'm talking about Cable Guy here. I mean, Jim Carrey is fresh off of both Ace Venturas, I do believe, at this point. So we're kind of used to that zany character, and he continues to keep us on our toes and goes completely different with a which I think is probably more truer to Jim Carrey himself. more dark sensibility and sense of humor, directed by Ben Stiller, Jack Black in there as well, Matthew Broderick, and that strange look and dark touch of friendship and the boundaries of friendship and the definitions of friendship, and just allowing him to do what he does, but yet in a different element. It's still funny, but funny in a creepier kind of level.
Yeah, I'm right there with you, man. And I had a friend very much like Jim Carrey's character, so I could truly relate. And I ended up marrying her. Her name is Beth Manning. So,
Does she also get you a good deal on cable?
Yes.
Is she your best friend?
Yes, she is. Yes, she is. Well, about 2 weeks before my daughter was born, Catherine, who I spoke about last time we were in 1996, Beth and I love action films. We still do. And we went to see a Schwarzenegger film called Eraser, which is one of those that gets kind of lost under the radar. This was June of 1996. But the cast is the James Three. You got James Caan, James Coburn, James Cromwell in this, along with also former Miss USA, Vanessa Williams. It's really one of those lost action flicks for me. It was a box office disappointment, yet I really enjoyed it, and I've revisited it, and I still enjoy it. And sometimes action flicks are just what they are. They're popcorn flicks that kind of take you away. It was Oscar nominated for effects and also sound editing, and the score got a BMI award for Alan Silvestri for Best Movie Score that year. And it was also nominated for an MTV award for Best Action Sequence. So Eraser is one of those that is on my list of checking out for 1996. So there you go. Darryl Mansel, Douglas Davidson joining us right here on Meet Me at the Movies for another look at 1996, some films that we left out. And for all those that did send it that non-viewer mail, sorry I didn't get to Chain Reaction and The Crow City of Angels, but maybe next time. Oh yeah, and Dragonheart. Sorry I didn't get to those for you, but I did mention them. So there you go. Thank you guys so much for joining us. Looking forward to having you back in the future. And for our audience, you can email us at info@c19.tv. You can follow the show on WGWG for the podcast and the radio version, and C19 for what you're doing right now. So the movie quote of the week comes from Father Rodriguez from Eraser from 1996. And I've been given a second chance, and I'm using it to do God's work. So until next time, for Meet Me at the Movies, for Darryl, for Douglas, and for all of us here, I'm Noel T. Manning II. That's a wrap.